Hello, welcome back to Abstract and Flow. I'm doing another video, and this one involves a recipe. So I've had some inquiries about my house paint recipe because I know a lot of people cannot get their hands on the Artist Loft Flow Acrylics. So I'm using a recipe actually that Sarah Taylor posted, but it didn't work for me. So I substituted the flow, what is it? The Artist Loft White for the house paint. And that still didn't work. So then I tweaked it some more. This particular pour is quite temperamental, as I'm sure some of you are discovering. So let's go ahead and get started with the pour. Well, the recipe. I have my scale. I weigh everything when I'm doing the pearl pours. I will be using Walmart's Color Place. Now, I know this is backwards, but this is what the can looks like. I'm just using my phone to record, and if I turn it around, I can't see myself. So, I'm sorry. This is how we're doing it. I will also be using some GAC 800, Liquitex Gloss Medium, and I believe she used the one with the gray label. I've never used that. I've always used this. And of course the satin enamels. So I'm gonna scale. Well, let's pan you down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. And we're gonna zero out the scale. 0, 0. Okay, so this cup weighs 0.6 ounces. I always measure in ounces. So once we do our experiments, and we're trying to figure out how much water we've added, take in consideration the cup by itself is 0.6 ounces. So we're going to start off with some house paint, and we're going to do 2 ounces. Stay. 2 ounces of house paint. It's actually a little bit more. So we're going to pour some out. Okay. Come on. Give me the 2 ounces. Okay, there we go, 2 ounces. 2.1. Now we're going to do 0.5 ounces of Liquitex. Okay. An ounce of the GAC. So that's going to take us to, an ounce will take us to 3.5. 3, 4, 3.5. And 3 ounces of floetrol. Okay, floetrol. Oh, come on. Okay. Okay, so let's zero this out again. Okay, and 3 ounces. Now, I know I said I was going to use the satin enamels, but this is the house paint recipe. So no, I'm not using satin enamels from Deco Arts. I'm not using this. I'm using Behr interior satin enamels. So this is going to be all house paint recipe. And I'm sure if you can't find Behr, this particular brand, just ask for a satin enamels, you know, when you go to your hardware store. Ask for a, this is ultra pure white. Ready to pour, no mixing. That's what you want to look for. And this is going to be 1 ounce. I think it's time for a new scale. So I'm going to do 1 ounce. Okay. So now we're going to stir that up. Okay, so this is your consistency without water. It's not as fluid as we want it. So now we're going to start adding our water. And I try to add anywhere from 0.5 to 1 ounce at a time. So that's 1 ounce. Give it a good stir. So far we got 1 ounce of water. And I can feel when I do like this, when you move your stir stick from side to side, there's a resistance. And it's, you know, it's not ready yet. I can feel it's not ready. And I normally don't measure my water because I know what I'm feeling for. So let's check the consistency. And let's do a little run test. See how it's running. I'm going to get a small amount. Okay. That's running pretty fast. But, let me see. I don't think it's ready. I'm going to add another 0.5 of water. So far that's 2.5 ounces of water we've added. Yeah, that looks good. Feels good. So it's a look and a feel when you're measuring your paint out for your base. And that ran very well. Okay, so it might be ready. So let's move this out the way. Get some of this other stuff out the way. Okay. And let's get our practice tile. Now this is a tile I used the other day when I was practicing. The color paint. This one is Liquitex Basics deep green. And the measurements for this is 2 to 1. So it's 1 part paint, 1 ounce, and 2 parts floetrol. And let's show you the consistency of the paint. So it's thin, but it's not as thin as your base coat. And it's leaving a slight, very, very slight mound. So that's how you want your paint for your colors to look. Again, add water a half an ounce at a time until you get to a thin consistency, but your base coat is going to be thinner. So let's pour this on a tile and see if we get any pearls. Now sometimes I will pour, depending on the size of my canvas, I'll pour a puddle and then I will put the colored paint in the middle of the puddle. So tonight, well, let's do the same thing. I just think by doing it that way, doing your puddle, it gives you more room to stretch. Because that is the theory that the more you stretch, the more pearls are going to develop. Also, I look for a little bit of shadowing around the outer edge of the paint. That tells you, let's see if I can get a little closer. That tells you that it's starting to sink. So that's a good reaction. You want to see that shadowing. So let's go ahead and tilt this off. And you want to go to the edge or to the corner. And then stretch it back the other way. And as soon as it starts to stretch, you should see pearls starting to pop up. The more you stretch it, the more those pearls are going to develop. Now, I find that the Liquitex brand paint gives me the better results. I have used the Amsterdam paint. I got good results with that. I'm sorry, not Amsterdam. No. The Artist Loft paints. I got good results with Liquitex and Artist Loft. I'm sorry if you're international. I don't know what paints you use. You'll just have to, test to see which one is going to give you these results. So that is basically how it's done. The base paint has to be thin. I cannot stress this enough. The base has to be thin. Thinner than your colored paints. If you do this recipe and you do not develop any cells, any pearls, let me bring you up. I'm just rambling on and you're looking at my hands going back and forth. Okay. If you do this recipe and you do not develop any pearls, we used 1 ounce of the Satin Enamel's house paint. I would add another half an ounce. I did that with the Artist Loft paint. 1 ounce didn't do it. I added a half an ounce more of the satin enamels, and pearls developed. So I had people telling me, I followed your recipe to a T and it didn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work for me either. So I'm tweaking my own recipe as I go along. It's either going to be too much water, which you don't want, because you're going to lose the body of the paint, being able to, I don't know the term of it, but too much, you don't want it too thin. Again, let me show you. And you saw the run test. You saw how quickly it ran down. Do that. Do a run test. And that way, you'll be able to gauge the thinness of your paint. So again, it's a thin consistency. It's just running off the stick, but it's not as thin as water. I don't know how else to put it. But if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the description box. I answer each question, comment, I respond. That's just me. We're here to help each other, right? Okay. So that is it. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this helps you with your pearl journey. Stay blessed. Stay safe. See you next pour. Bye.